Hello dear, in this video we are going to learn about the regional kingdom for class 7. This is the 7th chapter of the history. Already you have learned about the Tughlaq dynasty. Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoza Tughlaq were the two powerful rulers of this dynasty. The Delhi Sultanate was at its peak under the Tughlaqs. However, the decline of the Tughlaq Empire paved the way for the disintegration of the Delhi Sultanate. Decline of the Tughlaq Empire. Many factors were responsible for the decline of the Tughlaq Empire. Let's see all the factors one by one. Weak successors failed to administer the Sultanate and keep the territories intact. When the sultans became weak, the provinces became independent. The Tughlaq ruler witnessed numerous revolts. This weakened the empire. Muhammad bin Tughlaq's policies such as transfer of capital and taxation in the door made him unpopular. Further, the introduction of token currency and the failed military expeditions emptied the royal treasury. Timur's invasions of 1398 was the final blow to the Tughlaq Empire. These factors caused independent kingdoms to come up in different parts of India. The kingdoms of Vijayanagar and Bahmani were two such powerful regional kingdoms. Kashmir. In the early medieval period, Kashmir was ruled by the Hindu dynasty. In the 14th century, Shah Mir started the Muslim dynasty. Zain ul Abidin, also known as Butsha, was the greatest ruler of Kashmir. He is popularly called as Akbar of Kashmir. He practiced religious tolerance and encouraged education, agriculture, and new arts and crafts. In the late 16th century, the Mughals annexed Kashmir. Marwar. The Rathas ruled over Marwar. Maharaja founded the city of Jaunpur and built the Maharanga fort there. Maharaja Maldeva was another powerful ruler. Mewar. Mewar was ruled by Sisodia Rajputs. Rana Hamir and Rana Kumbha made Mewar very strong. Rana Zanga was the greatest ruler of Mewar. In 1527, Babar defeated Rana Zanga in the Battle of Kanua. Jaunpur. Malik Sarwar was the governor of Jaunpur during the reign of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Taking advantage of Timur's invasion in 1398, Malik Sarwar declared his independence and established the Sharki dynasty. The most powerful Sharki ruler was Ibrahim Shah Sharki. In 1484, Bahlal Lodi conquered Jaunpur. Bengal. Bengal was an important trading center. In the 14th and 15th centuries, the Ilyas Shahi and the Hussain Shahi sultanates ruled Bengal. In the 16th century, the Mughals annexed Bengal. Malwa. Dilawar Khan founded the Kingdom of Malwa in 1401. The most powerful ruler was Kushan Shah. Malwa was later conquered by Sher Shah Suri. Gujarat. Muzaffar Shah founded an independent kingdom in Gujarat in the 15th century. Some famous rulers of the kingdom were Ahmad Shah, Muhammad Shah, Behara and Bahadur Shah. In the 16th century, Akbar annexed Gujarat. Khandesh. Raja Ahmad, also called Malik Raja, was the first independent ruler of Khandesh. He was succeeded by Nasir Khan, who built the town of Burhanpur. Later, the rulers of Gujarat annexed Khandesh. The Vijayanagar Empire. The Vijayanagar Empire was established by two brothers, Harihara and Bukharai, in 1336. They were feudatories of Kakatiyas and Warangal. When the kingdom of Warangal was overrun by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq in 1323, the brothers shifted base to Kambili. Here they entered into the service of local rulers. When the Tughlaqs conquered Kambili, the brothers were taken captive. They were later sent to the South India to crush the rebellions there. After some time, they rebelled against Muhammad bin Tughlaq and declared their independence. They built Vijayanagar, that is the city of victory. Harihara and Bukka. Harihara ascended the throne of in 1336. He ruled for 20 years. Bukka succeeded him and ruled till 1377. The brothers fought against the Hoysala ruler of Mysore, now it is Mysore, and the king of Madurai. Bukka defeated the king of Madurai and annexed his territories. Little by little, the whole of the South India was brought under his rule. Dynasties. The Vijayanagar Empire lasted for 230 years. Kings, called Rayas, from three main dynasties ruled the empire. They are Sangama dynasty, the period was 1336 to 1485. Then Salwa dynasty, the period was 1485 to 1505. And the Tuluva dynasty, its period was 1505 to 1565. Krishnadevaraya. His period was 1509 to 1530. The greatest ruler of Vijayanagar Empire was Krishnadevaraya. He defeated Bahmani Sultan and the king of Odisha. He also annexed the Rajput States, a very fertile area between Krishna and the Tungambara rivers. Under him, the empire covered the whole of the South India. Krishnadevaraya went on tours of inspection to ensure that the people in the empire were happy and the officers were performing their task well. This way, he kept himself informed of the functioning of the empire. The king encouraged trade and commerce. He established trading links with the Portuguese, the India and the Dutch. He also paid great attention to agriculture. He built many tanks, dams and canals for irrigation. The Portuguese traveller Domingo Pais visited the court of Krishnadevaraya. His account tells us about the political, social and economic conditions prevalent in those times. Krishnadevaraya was the great scholar of Telugu and Sanskrit. He composed a poem called Amukta Malayata in Telugu. He also patronized many learned men in his court. These included the 8 Telugu scholars collectively called Akshay Dikacha. The Krishna temple in Hampi was commissioned by Krishnadevaraya. He expanded and beautified several portions of the Vittalaswamy temple. He also built a new city in Nagalpur, that is modern day Hospat. Scholars describe Krishnadevaraya as one of the greatest rulers of India. Here are few achievements of the Vijayanagar Empire. Let's see all one by one. Let's see his achievements in the area of administration, economic condition, architecture and literature. First, administration. The king was the supreme authority in all administrative matters. He was assisted by the council of ministers. The empire was divided into mandalams, that is provinces, each headed by the governor, nadus, that is district, and stalas, that is sub-districts, and the gramas, that is villages. Village administration became feudal in nature. Administrative posts also became hereditary. The king increasingly became dependent on feudal lords. Next, economic condition. Vijayanagar owed its prosperity to agriculture and trade and e-commerce. Travelers such as Nicola Conti and Abdur Razak have given the detailed description of the splendor of Vijayanagar court and the luxurious lifestyle of the nobles. Land revenue was the main source of income. It was levied according to the fertility of the land. In addition, there were other taxes such as tax on property, sale of produce, profession, marriage, and so on. A flourishing trade made the empire rich. Next, architecture. The capital of empire was Hampi. It had beautiful buildings, especially temples. The Vittalaswamy temple, the Virupaksha temple and the Hazara Rama temple are fine specimens of Vijayanagar temple architecture. Beautiful sculptures adorn the walls of these temples. Then literature. Rulers encouraged Sanskrit, Kannada, and Telugu. Several books were written on grammar, medicine, mathematics, and philosophy. Sayana wrote commentaries on the Vedas. End of the empire. The Vijayanagar Empire became weak after the death of Krishnadevaraya. The neighboring kingdoms of Deccan joined hands and defeated the ruler of Vijayanagar in 1565 in the Battle of Talikota. The Bahmani Kingdom. The Bahmani Kingdom was established by Alauddin Hasan. He had risen the services of the person named Gangu and is therefore also known as Ghazan Gangu. He became the king in 1347 and took the title of Alauddin Bahman Shah and started the Bahmani dynasty. The Bahmani kingdom lasted for 180 years, that is from 1347 to 1527. At its greatest extent, it included the whole of the northern Deccan up to the river Krishna. First, Gulbarga and then Bidar became the capital. Firoz Shah Bahmani and Mahmud Gawan were the most powerful people of the Bahmani kingdom. Firoz Shah Bahmani, his period was 1397 to 1422. Firoz Shah Bahmani was the powerful ruler. He defeated the Konde king Narsingh Raj and annexed some of his territories. He also conquered the Raichur Doab from the king of Vijayanagar, only to lose it again. Firoz Shah Bahmani was a learned man and was interested in science. He was a good poet and was well versed in Persian, Arabic, Turkish, Telugu, Kannada, and Marathi. He encouraged learned men to migrate to his court. Under him, Deccan became the cultural center of India. Mahmud Gawan. His period was 1463 to 1481. Mahmud Gawan was the Wazir, that is the Prime Minister of Bahmani King Muhammad Shah Il. Muhammad was the Persian by birth. He came to India and settled in the Deccan. He began working in the royal court and soon gained favor with the king. For 18 years, he managed the affairs of the kingdom. He expanded the kingdom and reorganized the administration. He made the kingdom very powerful. Muhammad was a patron of learning. He was well versed in mathematics and literature. He encouraged the growth of Urdu. Many scholars from Persia visited the Bahmani court. He also built a magnificent madrasa in Bidar. Students from different parts of India and abroad came here to study. Deccani-Bardesi conflict. The Bahmani kingdom was plagued by continuous conflict between the two groups of nobles at the court of Deccani and Bardesi. The Deccanis were the local origin. The Bardesi had come from Persia, Turkey, Arabia, and Central Asia. They were looked down on the foreigners by the local Deccani nobles. The two factions were always scheming against each other. Muhammad Gawan was the Pardesi. He failed to unite the two groups. His opponents hatched the conspiracy against him and had him executed in 1481. Here are a few achievements of Bahmani kingdom. Let's see all one by one. Let's see the achievements in administration area. The Wazir and Wakil headed the administration. Other senior officials were Amir-e-Jumla, that is the head of finance, the Wazir-e-Asraf, head of foreign affairs, and Zadar-e-Jahan, that is head of the religious and judicial department. The Bahmani kingdom was divided into many provinces called tarafs. Each taraf was under the governor called Amir Tarafadar. He was paid through jahirs. The governors had their own armies. They helped the king with men and equipment during times of war. Next, in the area of architecture, the Bahmani rulers built numerous mosques, madrasa, and tombs. Some famous monuments are Jama Masjid and Gulbarga and the Jami Masjid, the madrasa of Mahmud Gawan and his tomb in Bidar. End of the kingdom. The later rulers were weak. Governors in the provinces declared themselves independent. By 1527, the kingdom split into 5 independent sultanates. Ahmednagar, ruled by Nizam Zahis. Bijapur, ruled by Adil Shahis. Golconda, ruled by Gutberg Shahis. Berar, ruled by Imad Shahis. And Bidar, ruled by Barid Shahis.